Welcome back on the AM show. We talk about electoral violence and how to forestall same ahead of election 2024, but also in the course of the inter-party elections that are going to be held. We know that the MPP's parliamentary primaries are going to be conducted on the 27th day of this month, come Saturday. Well, joining us for a conversation on these and other pertinent issues, Reverend Dr. Opuni-Frimpong. He's Executive Director, Alliance for Christian Advocacy Africa. Rev, good morning. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Pleasure.
It's been just a few days since we last spoke on some broader matters. But when you look at electoral violence, I can still remember some of the captions from the foreign media in the last election, and we'll get to some of them. But President Akufo-Addo wins second term, 5 people killed, if you remember, the Techiman issue, among others. And over time, as the Fourth Republic has grown, it appears that aspect of elections, electoral violence, has also grown along with it. Maybe it's because of the polarization. Maybe it's because of the political parties. No one knows. But I'd like to find out from you, for starters, why and how do you think we've got here in terms of electoral violence?
Ben, let me say good morning to you and your cherished viewers, and thank you for the opportunity. Now, the issue you have raised, and this is a work we have done, that the organization you mentioned, Alliance for Christian Advocacy Africa, is a team of pastors and university lecturers in these countries, in Angola and other Africa countries. Now we have come together and see how we can bring our faith perspectives on national life, public policies, and public issues. And major one is election. Now we've taken time to study the reports of the past 8 elections that we've had as a nation under the Fourth Republic. And like you said, European Union report, both local and international report, they will all congratulate us as a country that we've done very well. Then you have a paragraph that starts, unfortunately, then they state the number of deaths. The 8 elections, each one of them has that component of, unfortunately, then the number of deaths. And even the painful side is about elections, that even there are instances where by-elections have also recorded death.
We remember Ayawaso West Wogo and the carnage.
And now that brings us to the question you are raising, that what is fueling? Election has become kind of business. Governance, politics have become business. Now people put money in there and therefore they behave like any business person who is protecting his or her investment. But above all, it seems to me we as a country, Ghanaians, have not come to a point that election is a process of identifying leaders. Leadership is service. And therefore, the search for a leader should not end in the death of innocent people, to the point that our Ghanaian soil must not drink the blood of innocent people in the name of election. It seems that realization has not come to us strongly, that the Ghanaian soil must not drink the blood of the innocent during the election. So we record the death and it's like, oh, it's nothing. But we can't continue like that. And those who are involved, all of our stakeholders, must come to a point and maybe commit to zero tolerance of electoral violence, especially electoral death.
I see. Zero tolerance. Is that realistic? Even in advanced democracies, and it's a negative example, but even in the United States, one of the beacons of democracy across the world, you saw what happened in the last election, and President Trump refusing to admit the assault on the Capitol, and now some of those people have been jailed. You're fully aware of that. So even in such advanced democracies, you see this. You see in France recently the protests against Macron and people, pretty violent.
You see, that's part of democracy. I like how the US example you cited, that they've been judged. The past election, we recorded 8 deaths. Where have we reached? We are getting ready for another election. And we are trusting that God will save us, else we may still record, and that's why, God forbid. So you look at how they handle theirs and how we handle ours. That's where you get the difference. You know, so yes, that every contest comes with some level of tension. So yes, I agree with you, you know. But that tension should not lead to this regular reports of death that we have had 8 elections. And each one of them, you have this reality of electoral violence to the point of electoral death. Now that is the issue we are raising, that must stop somewhere. The campaign tension and all those things must happen, but it should not lead to the point where our soil is drinking innocent blood. We've had enough of that. At least, even if some people are having it, as Black Star of Africa, we must tell a better story.
Of course, I know when it comes to the key stakeholders in this, you will talk about the Electoral Commission, you will talk about the political parties, among other entities. Apart from these, which other entities would you call on? And I want you to address for each one what you think should be done. Enumerate what you think should be done to ensure that we can avert such situations, because one life lost is one life too many. Somebody maimed, I mean, they may never be able to recover and do what they used to. I remember there was this gentleman who, at one point, I think a demonstration, his eye, way back, and you know, I think that gentleman lost his life after a number of years. The last time there was another one around the Obra Sport Circle, another gentleman, similar situation, eye almost gouged out. I don't know what happened to him, but if you look at how that was, obviously this person is going to be scarred for life. So with all these groupings, what would you say you are holding them to? Even before we get to the research you've been doing in the sub-region.
At least for the sake of time, let me touch on traditional leaders and faith-based organization leaders. Now, very soon, and we've started this campaign, and thank you so much, AM Show and Multimedia, that giving us the platform. And we need more moving forward. We started this campaign very early. They will be going out now. They are all waiting to pick the 2 major, they are running mates and then members of parliament. Now, whenever they move into community, normally the first point of call, likely the police. Over the years, not all of them, unfortunately, when they go and they carry their gifts and other things, you get some of our traditional leaders, oh, me and my people will vote for you, 80% and whatever percentage. Let the traditional leaders commit themselves to the zero tolerance of death of their citizens. Welcome them, receive their gifts, pray for them, but tell them that as you campaign in my community, assure me that not a single soul of my young people or the people in my community will die because they love you, they support you, they want to follow you. I will want to see a situation where traditional leaders who welcome either members of parliament or presidential candidate or whoever will say everything they want to say, and let them also commit themselves that we value life, we cherish your people, because we are here for development. You destroy the lives of the people and you develop the community for who? So my first point of call will be traditional leaders, that 2024, please, Nanano, welcome them. They are your own, but let them commit in your presence that protect my people, protect my young people. They love you, they will follow you, but guarantee me, that you will send 100% out. You will bring my 100% back home. The next group, that is where I belong. Ministers of the gospel, and then also Muslims and others. These people sit in front of us, the politicians, members of parliament, presidential, and they all come to us for prayers. They come to churches and introduce themselves to us and tell us how they must leaders. No problem about that. Of course, they also come and they give gifts to the churches. I pray and hope that church leaders, imams, those who come to either church or mosque, welcome them, be a unifying factor, let them feel that they belong. But after all your prayers, tell them that the young people who will follow you are members in our churches and our mosques. Please, as they follow you, make sure you bring them back, not maimed with their eyes, like the examples you cited. Let them come back after the elections with the fullness, their eyes, their nose, and their lives. Don't let them, after my prayer for you, make sure that the young people who follow you are members in our churches, in our mosques, that will follow you either at the polling station, collation centers, wherever. Bring them back safely. So faith-based organization leaders, because of the regular interaction, engagement we have with them, and traditional leaders must play leading role in this effort we are embarking on.
You've mentioned traditional leaders or rulers, faith-based rulers, but how do you look at their political rhetoric? And sometimes you would have traditional leaders. You know what the Constitution says about being a traditional ruler and openly speaking about partisan politics. It's not that they cannot participate in partisan politics in terms of exercising the franchise and all of that, but openly doing so, especially because of the crucial role they play. And same for religious leaders, Christian, Muslim, and it goes on and on. But some pastors too, some preachers have turned their pulpits into political platforms. And sometimes when some people come through, it is clear where X may be or where Y may be. I don't even know how they're able to handle that as far as their congregations are concerned, because I don't think anyone could have a congregation that is all MPP or a congregation that is all NDC. But taking it from that angle, how about the rhetoric, the lack of control sometimes when it comes to what they say?
Yeah, now go back to your opening remarks. That why is this thing not going away? They will say President Akufo-Addo has won, but then they add the number of deaths. Why is it not going away? And I said there are other key stakeholders that have not committed themselves to their roles. Peaceful and credible elections are collective responsibilities. We all want to look up to the security agencies, Electoral Commission, sometimes want to accuse media and others. But if you are a traditional leader, you command certain level of respect, the same like our church leaders. And you are there for everybody. You are supposed to protect the people, the land, and property, everything, before even the politicians get to your communities. And this is where we, faith-based leaders and our traditional leaders, it seems to me, have not come to that realization that it's not enough saying that I have prayed for you, I want you to succeed. But before the arrival of the politician, you were leading a group of people, young people, farmers, men, women, elderly people. So let them know that I cherish, I have been here to protect these people. That is why you came to meet us. Leave us in peace, not in pieces. Unfortunately, again, like you said, some of our traditional leaders and church leaders as well, these people, and they are politicians, they made investment. So it's not for them, it's not a joke, it's not a game. And they want to control everybody, including traditional leaders, including church leaders. It's a strategy our politicians are embarking on. If you are a faith-based leader and you miss that, you are in trouble. Sometimes even they play the game with gifts. Certain public servants are not supposed to take gifts, but traditional leaders and pastors, we are free to take gifts. But for you, it's a gift. Some of them is a manipulative strategy. They want partnership of convenience, you see. So the more they come to you and they think you have received their gift, therefore you are with them, you are part of them.
Have you ever been in such situations?
I've managed Christian Council of Ghana for a number of years. And so I understand how we play the game. I have been into many of the sensitive games, places and meetings and all that. And my strategy was, you come to Christian Council, you drop envelope. I'll call my director of finance and the others, take this envelope, count whatever is inside, issue receipt in the name of whatever. We add letter of appreciation and send to you. Oh, so if we did not do this, you shouldn't have done this. I said, you came to me as Christian Council General Secretary. So I have had instances of that. But it's a strategy. We must know. And they want partnership of convenience. What it means is they prefer that you don't bring their dirty stuff in public. So they insist, let's have behind the scene engagement. And now many pastors are falling into that trap. Over the years, we have done both private engagement and public engagement. At the moment, for the other day, you asked me the question. You realize that the churches are going, more of private. You ask them, we are doing private engagement with them. It's good, but you do private engagement, you must do public engagement. We are representative voices. Your church members want to know what you are doing. Ghanaians want to know. So you can't go behind the scene, have meetings, and then we come to public and the voices of the churches years ago. By now you find Dr. Boaji Mensah, Reverend Professor Sante, and many more voices, Bishop Amabako, Bishop Osebonsu, all flooding the atmosphere. Now churches are becoming more quiet, and you ask them, so we are doing private engagement. Yes, we do private engagement, but make sure their gifts and whatever doesn't, those things don't take away our prophetic voices. And sometimes you realize these politicians are getting bigger space in this area, and some traditional leaders are also falling into the trap of a partnership of convenience. Or if you need anything, call us. You don't need to say this kind of thing. We must meet them in private. We must equally meet them in public. The kind of politicians we are dealing with, private engagement should not be enough for us.
Now that policy institute based in London, I'm talking about Chatham House. I'm looking at one of their documents. And of course, you know that when you're having a conversation like this, electoral violence, you must look at the very bedrock, the very things that, spawn electoral violence. You could look at political party vigilantism. Now we have a vigilante act, a law on that. And that was on the back of Ayawaso West Wuogon and everything that happened in that by-election. You remember clearly. There's also the issue of the Electoral Commission and the compilation of a voters' register. You would notice that usually is a source of rancor per research and the actions of the EC itself. You sit on that eminent group within the Electoral Commission. How do you address these two angles? Because one, while we have that law on political party vigilantism, we still see that some things may be going on, and whether to call it vigilantism or not becomes a tricky affair. We don't want anything in election 2024. So what is your reading on these two matters? How do we go with them?
Yeah, Ben, maybe we'll have a long-term and then a short-term, medium-term approach to this question. The long-term is a constitutional issue. You finish election and you give everything into one person, for one person to decide whether your road will be fixed or not.
You mean the president?
Yes. It's something we need to address. That now, if you're able to fight and crush everything and everybody and becomes the president of Ghana, you decide who can be appointed and not be appointed, and you decide, until recently, even all bills going to parliament. And so our constitution has given too much power to parties and presidents, and therefore that is fueling what they call winner takes all. That's fueling the tension in our electoral system.
So you feel the concentration of power is a concern. Are you for altering the constitution?
Oh, sure. In fact, we have been discussing this how many times. IEA and you see, and Professor Michael Quay himself, former Speaker of Parliament, and many more, like the former Chief Justice Sophia, and many more. You realize that, I mean, how can you have a constitution that's so discriminatory that a group of people can have certain end of service benefits and all that, and others are now fighting? Your earlier conversation with
Senior Staff Association,
I'm a university teacher, so the strike also affects me. That somebody tells you that even the deduction government has made, they have not paid to the pension fund and administrators and all that. But somebody knows that at the end of 4 years, I have something that I'm going, and this is being protected by the constitution of the country in the name of Article 71. And some of these things must be addressed. But back to the issue, immediately, these are constitutional things that may take a long time. Immediately, what we need to appreciate is that, the other day you mentioned it, people are putting monies into elections that are loans, that some sell their houses, and so election has become life and death. You go into election and it's either you win or lose. In election, it's not a football that there can be draw. But now that key electoral mindset that in election I can win or lose is not in our electoral language. I'm going to win, and we will win at all costs. That is the problem. And they talk like that, not that they have that sense of patriotism. They love Ghana so much. They are protecting their investment. Election in Ghana, politics in Ghana has become business.
And especially, I want to go back, the Electoral Commission. Their role is crucial, maybe the most crucial apart from the political parties. You've heard of everything that has been said in recent times. We've discussed some of them, even the non-use of the indelible ink, biometric verification, and all of that. Are we on the right course?
If right means we've solved all the problems, then I'll say no. But if right means that we've done enough to guarantee credible election in Ghana, I would say yes. Years ago, we had ballot boxes that you could not see what was going inside.
That's as far back as 1990.
We've solved that.
293, thereabouts.
We've been able to solve that problem. Years ago, the multiple registration, now because of Ghana Card and others, it's not the best, but it's not as easy as those days, that we had nothing to control. So there are so many things, the biometric we have done. To me, if the key stakeholders, the political parties, want to commit themselves to patriotism, love of this country, because EC cannot bus under 18. In fact, I ran a workshop in part of Central Region, and some JSS children told us that their mother asked her, go and register so that we'll get money. And the child was able to tell, Mom, I won't do it. But there was a politician who had gathered parents, giving them money that they should bring their children under 18 to register. Now look at what you've done to the child. If you come to the university, information you give at the entry point is very difficult to change. So if you are 16 and you come to the university and you say 18, fine. But it's very difficult. So you carry that. And because somebody wants to win an election, you destroy the future of a child. So we are yet to have the commitment. EC can do virtually nothing if the political parties want to commit themselves to patriotism, because they bring, whether double registration or registration of minors. EC can never do it. It is the political parties. And all of us who must keep eyes. I have people, we go around monitoring election. EC, that's if they try, the people will beat them. The other day, there was this EC person who was helping a blind person or something. And then he went to, put the wrong place where the person, and they wanted to lynch him. You see, because their people will be there, the party people will be there. So the commitment we need now is more from the political parties rather than EC. Even though, for instance, the indelible thing you mentioned, I will pray and hope that yes, EC may have good intention, but they should not deal with those who attend IPAC meeting that we have finished with them, so we'll do it. Let them discuss with ordinary Ghanaians. Why now we don't want to use indelible ink because of what? Make sure you carry the nation along. But if you think we've talked to the elite class, we are done with them, we have done some consultation, even those people, how they play the game. They know I know what we'll go to the IPAC meeting. Sometimes even you think they have agreed, if understood, they come out of the meeting and the way they address the issue, then quietly you go to them. I was in the meeting with you, and they said these are psychological warfare.
It's political talk.
Yeah. So they may even agree with you. When you bring them here, they will give impression to Ghanaians that they've heard not all of them. That's how they play the game.
Okay. Now, to cap off the conversation, I want us to look at, you have this book here.
Yes.
And it also encapsulates some work that you, together with other lecturers, people of the cloth, have put together on what exactly? Because it also reflects on the conversation we're having.
Yes, we call it public theology in Ghana, but simply put, it's how do you bring faith perspectives on national issues, on governance, public policy, what we are doing now. And one area, that's the chapter 11 of this book, is on elections. And we studied the various reports that under the Fourth Republic have been, including the EC's report on their website, Ghana Police Service, European Union, CODEO, and others. And cheating, and electoral cheating. It's not like one party. They all cheat. NPP, NDC, they cheat. And Ghanaians should never assume that we have angels somewhere. And maybe here back to the EC issue that we're discussing, if we close our eyes, we go to bed and leave them, NDC will cheat. And this is how they cheat. If you go to their, what they call stronghold, and you hear them complaining, for instance, if I go to, just for purpose of conversation, say, K2 South, and NPP is crying, come and see what they are doing to our people. They are beating us. They are not allowing us. The very thing NPP is complaining about at K2 South, go to Nishiais, go to Pantama, they are doing the exact thing there. This is how they play the game. They are all manipulating the system, but it's like thief man. When one person feels that the other is thieving too much, then if you give them platform, they will come and shout and jump. It's not fair, it's not credible. But I can guarantee you, they are doing the same thing. They are all thieves when it comes to election. And we need credibility. We need respect. Please come to leadership on a clean sheet. Don't come on the back of, and that is why some of them come to office. They are not able to perform the promises they give. The manipulation in the system, cheating, and then the violence we talk about. And then there's another form of even violence we may want to address, if not today, another time. Is the spiritual violence, where now party people will curse themselves. And they curse people who collect money to vote for them. That if you don't vote for me after collecting money, so and so should happen to you. Why? A country, church, everywhere, classroom, hotel, everywhere church. You get church people coming into leadership and calling spirits and deities cursing people. You see, so you read the report, and European Union is recording all this cheating and manipulation, and even diabo that has become
curses, the invocation of deities and curses.
These are entering into the textbooks.
Okay. The very final thing I'll look at, since all of this also borders on leadership, and specifically because he spoke about having an all-powerful presidency, which sometimes devolves into what we're having. This is a bit away from the point, but in light of servant leadership, have you heard the president's comments on Ekumfi in recent times?
That can only be possible because of the constitution we have as a country. It's a typical example. He said it. I have watched it how many times? It's all over.
I was left in shock. When I saw it the first time, I thought it was fake news.
No, we shouldn't be shocked. That is, you see, any time our budget is going to Parliament, it's what the president wants to do. So if the president is not prepared to construct the road in your hometown, it will not find its way into the budget. And here it's fine. It's recently that the president openly has said that. But that is all they do. You didn't vote for me. We will not do your road. We will not do X, Y, Z. I will not pick certain people from your area because you don't vote for us. You know, and in this kind of thing, it is being sustained by the Constitution. Elsewhere, I mean, when you do local contribution taxes, you use it to develop the community. You do mining communities, mining, you use the royalties and others to develop. Now we go to mining communities and it's a sorry state. You collect money from rural areas, they bring it to Accra and somebody get a new V8. And you go to the area, the market, the sanitation in the market. All because we have put every power, everything, key decision in the hands of one person. And so if you give him impression that you voted or you did not vote for me, you like me or you don't vote for me, he has also call it the right and power to say, I will not fix, I put my, and then he added that I must be honest. He said you want to be honest. It shouldn't be. But it is not so much the fault of the president, it's the constitution of the country. If we have a constitution that devolves power and influence, maybe he wouldn't have been able to make that decision that you didn't vote for me, so I won't develop your community. But now that is what is happening. It's a constitutional, a structural thing that must be addressed, but maybe we have a long way to go. And they all, you see, when Professor Mills called for constitutional review, the white paper, President Mahama had been in office.
Yes, that's true.
When NDC people are talking,
he's now going about saying, "Oh, you see, and if I," but the question is, when he was in power, he continued after that. What happened to the white paper?
Somebody needs to ask him. You know, when they give impression, when I come, I will not do this, I will do that. Somebody needs to. The white paper was in process when you were in the office, and now MPP is about to end 8 years. I wouldn't be surprised. We are yet to hear what Vice President Baumia is coming. I wouldn't be surprised that he also be calling for some of these constitutional reviews. But they have been in office 8 years. But they will still come and tell us stories. And they must be very careful the kind of promises they are giving to Ghana because we will hold them accountable.
Thank you so much, Rev, for joining us for, what would we call this? I don't take coffee, so maybe for cocoa this morning on the AM show. And we're hoping that with all of these conversations we're having, these interactions, hopefully it will lead to no violence in election 2024, or if any at all, minimal violence, so that we can save our lives.
Zero tolerance to electoral death. Every Ghanaian in your bedroom, write it somewhere. Zero tolerance for electoral death election 2024. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. And this has been a conversation on electoral violence and how to curb it ahead of election 2024. My guest, Reverend Dr. Kwabena Opuni-Frimpong. He is Executive Director, Alliance for Christian Advocacy Africa. He joined the conversation. Well, stay with us. We have more coming your way from the Ghana Statistical Service. Up next on the AM show.